माता की है। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम ओम। 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 श्री राम जय राम, जय जय सॉफ्ट टच। श्री राम जय राम, जय जय राम ओम। 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 श्री राम जय राम, जय
This is only collar mic.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Hari Om to everybody. Pranam, Pranam. The first chapter we went, tomorrow we will come back to the first chapter again. Today in the second chapter, it is quite a lengthy one. There are about 72 shlokas. So we cannot take up everything. So there are about 4 or 5 points which draw our attention. And one is immortality and indivisibility of the self. Second one is perishability of the body. Third one is act while not expecting the fruit. Fourth one is self-control. Fifth one is equanimity of mind. And then efficiency in action. So we have this background that how before we react to events and individuals, our thought, if it can go through a refining process, it will ensure peace and harmony not only to us but also to everybody. So each and everything we have to apply our mind. No? We are not coming into any conclusion. How the refining process should take place or has taken place already through some of the experiences. The first one is immortality and indivisibility of the self. Initially, none of us are aware that there is an immortal self in us. So when we are drawn by His grace, later on we understand by His grace we are drawn to a spiritual preceptor who says that Atman is immortal. He says that the sense of individuality which we have now, the image of ourselves, it is not permanent. Here the first fundamental thing we feel, we have faith. Faith in the words of scriptures, faith in the words of the masters. So intellectually we understand, yes, and we strive towards that. Why should I strive towards that? Because I start thinking, acting, talking, everything based upon the me and mine, which I feel it is permanent. So if it has to become a refinery, if the equipment has to become a refinery, the first and foremost thing is I should know that this is not permanent, this is impermanent. So I start looking at everything with that angle. We go through the Shastras, we try to get in touch with Master's teachings, and in our case, beloved Papa, who keeps on hammering this, and he suggests to us in an indirect way that immortal nature, is the first cause. We feel now we have come from our parents. This inquiry suddenly makes us to realize that our parents were also having parents. They were born, just like we were born to our parents, they were also born to their parents. Like that we can keep on telling. So they are not the cause, first cause. So what could be the first cause? At the moment we can only infer, we have not realized. Here the intellect helps us that without cause there cannot be effect. And my immediate cause, my parents, cannot be the first cause because they were also born to their parents. So there should be a first cause. A little bit of agricultural background and plantation background will reveal to us that when we sow a seed, that seed has come from another plant. That plant has come from another seed. Even if we make a kitchen garden in our terrace, when we get seeds from the market, what do? Say, for example, tomato. We keep the compound ready. Soil, sand, manure. All these are mixed, put it in a package, and then we get the seed, we put it. After some days, it sprouts, it becomes a seedling, it becomes a plant, it flowers, the fruition takes place, so many tomatoes, and in each and every tomato we find so many seeds. We try to apply in our own life. So we were born to our parents, they were born to their parents, so the first tomato seed, where from it came, we cannot. But there should be a tomato seed, first. This inquiry, leads us nowhere, so we go to the Shastras. So where Bhagavad Gita says in 7th chapter, Bijam Mam Sarva Bhutanam, I am the eternal seed of everything. Though we have not realized, we believe in the words of the scripture, which is told to us by masters, and rational also. So we accept, and this is perennial. The seed which we plant, it dies the moment the seedling comes. As soon as the seedling comes, if we look at suppose we remove the mud, we will see that the seed has broken, and from it the seedling has come. So the seed dies. So the perishability of the seed we can understand to some extent. The first source we can understand to some extent. Just like one tomato seed brings so many seeds, then we will be right in assuming that all of us are the different seeds. From all of us are the different seeds sprouted from the first seed. And then we try to go deep within to understand the immortality and indivisibility of the self. Though the seed dies as soon as the seedling comes, the power in the seed is passed on to the seedling. Otherwise, how can it sustain? And it produce the same seed. That seed is again put, that dies, another seed. So we find there is an immortal thing called the life force. Life force in the seed that is not dying. Only the seed dies. So this could be one method of understanding the immortality and indivisibility of the self. We try to go deep within to find out where from this equipment, this equipment has come. This equipment has come from where? And we know now that there should be an uncaused cause, a first cause, primordial cause. Papa names it as the first cause. From everything has come out. So we take that immortality is that it keeps on expressing itself in the form of various seeds or various creations. And then indivisibility. That means, it is life force, it cannot be divided. To some extent we can gauge. And then perishability of the body. We know the seed dies. No longer the seed is there. After paving the way for the seedling to come, the seed as such dies. The material portion of the seed dies. The spiritual portion of the seed, expressing in the form of life, expresses through the seedling. Some extent we can understand, yes, perishability of the body. So when this much we have been initiated into thought, whatever we think, whatever we talk, whatever we do is based upon what? Not this. We based upon the me and mine, the seed level. When we know the seed is perishable, when we know that the sense of individuality is perishable, at least intellectually first, we also know that its decisions, its judgments, its concepts, its rights and wrongs, its likes and dislikes cannot become absolutely true. So refinery means we are every now and then we are trying to remind ourselves that the me and mine, which is now in the forefront in dealing with men and matters, is not immortal, is perishable. So then, the moment we come to realize that, we also try to give space for other thoughts. And where from the other thoughts can come? So we try to gauge. We remember one incident Puja Swamiji was mentioning. Puja Swamiji was going to Puja Mataji's room. Some petitioner had come there, lady, and Swamiji was replying. She was asking, Swamiji was replying. It went on for a few minutes. Then Swamiji went and met Mataji. So Mataji asked, why did you raise your voice? So Swamiji said she was repeating the same. So I would have raised my voice because of that. Immediately Mataji said, she is repeating it because of the emergent nature of her needs. You have solved the ashram problem, but what about her problem? You have solved ashram problem by repeating it and telling her it cannot be done. You have solved ashram problem. But what about her problem? Pujya Swamiji himself was telling this. So that means our rights and wrongs, suppose we are guided by our rights and wrongs, it cannot become full and complete. So giving space for others will enable us to dilute the dominance of the me and mine. Think about it. And this is what Bhagavad Gita second chapter brings out. So many such sublime thoughts in us. Think. When we wanted to draft, we get stuck. So first thing is, there are about 72 slokas, not one or two. In the first chapter, we did not have much problem. Because it was purely because of his delusion. No? He was justifying his action. So nothing deep. But the second chapter...
In the first chapter, there was only one point.
In the first chapter, there was only one point.
Whereas in the second chapter, there are 4 or 5 themes to be understood.
So that means we have to do a lot of pondering. How to make my mind a refinery? What are the 6 points? I keep it before me and then try to analyze. So the first thing that comes to our mind is immortality and indivisibility of the self. When we try to analyze, why should I know? Because at the moment I am guided by my projected individuality. I have gathered through experience and knowledge, and I have given this is right, this is wrong, this I like, this I don't like, this is my priority, this is my preference, and everything stems from that. I am in total disregard to the same feeling of others. Everybody has got rights and wrongs like me. They have got equal right, preferences, priorities. But I am blind to that. Then I react. So the refinement process is something I also recognize. Just like I have got the freedom and intelligence to say this is right, this is wrong, others also have got. Can this be termed as a point of refining? All of you are joining?
Yes, obviously.
So now we go back to our own life. In this, when Mataji pointed out this, then when Pujya Swamiji shared this, then we remember in what all matters, what did we do this? We were fully guided by our norms, and that will definitely trigger a lot of reactions. When I start accommodating everything, then there is harmony, and finally we come to a conclusion. That means not viewing only from our standpoint, we also try to recognize the same freedom, same power of judgment in others. We all do that, no? In our profession, in family also, when somebody says something, we don't immediately say, no, nothing doing. And wherever we have asserted, it has brought some problem. Wherever it has not asserted, everything went on smoothly. Only the problem comes when we assert, when we don't try to understand. And okay, there may be some incidents where our rights and wrongs we may have to say for the sake of dharma. Suppose we are managing an institution, the employees, they have to be guided by certain disciplines. If there are dilutions, dereliction of duty, absent-mindedness, lack of commitment, rushing up with judgment, not ensuring excellence, all these things will have a negative impact on our institution. So when we come to that, we try to first call them and tell them it is not right, do think about it again, let these mistakes not happen. And suppose it is repeatedly done, you take some disciplinary action. Then how do we bring this dimension? The refining, whether the refining does not alter our stand or not. So there we get from experience only this can be got, not from anything else. We used to share, the experience in the estate, where the boss was very clear that for the sake of dharma we may be taking action, but at the same time our love towards him should remain intact. We are not punishing the individual, we are punishing for the wrong things done by the individual, which is harmful for the institution. And we try to make him understand throughout. And we have seen that it definitely makes them to think, and then the conflict is ended, and we continue to put him back again. So the refinement, even at that time, is that we separate the person from the wrong things done. And the wrong thing is not what you feel wrong. There is a dharma there. Dharma in any institution, when the dharma is not kept up, the institution will not remain. So I think this aspect we have to learn only from our experience, not from... Please think about it, we will try to put it tomorrow. And the next one is act while not expecting the fruit. By and large, we all act aiming at a fruit. So initially we may feel it as a tall order. So again, the refinement comes only when we try to accept the contributory factors for getting the fruit. In the estate operation, for example, coffee estate operation, 12 months we have to have cultural operation, various cultural operations, to ensure that the plant is healthy, the plants have sufficient branches, so that the more the branches, more cluster can be formed, cluster of buds, cluster of flowers, cluster of fruits. It starts from the cluster of buds. So suppose you have got only 2 branches, it will be limited. So So then we try, there will be a radius of 6 feet this way, 12 feet. And then as much as possible, the branches should stretch so that in each branch we can have so many clusters. So for that, what is required? Proper aeration is required. The health should be maintained through manure. Whenever the soil becomes acidic and unable to convert into plant food, just like we all have acidic problem, we will not feel the appetite. We have to closely watch. Then we apply lime or something like that to neutralize the acidity, and then we apply the manure. So aeration is necessary, irrigation is necessary. So many suckers will come. Every now and then we have to remove the suckers because it will eat away the vital health of the plant. And in the center, suppose it gets clouded, centering should be done for the air to come and reach to every branches. So like that, so many cultural operations. And this cultural operation is not done by that owner. It will be done by a team of laborers. You need the tools. Water, we have to depend upon Mother Nature mostly, and in rare cases we may have our own reservoir from where we have the sprinkler facilities. And then, even if everything is all right, when the plucking is over, from the day of these buds opening, we need we need water to open. So 1 inch rain we expect. In February, March it should come. Now by this time, the buds would have been ready to open up. Then as soon as the rain, suppose it should come, in the right time. It is not in our hands. And then when the buds get opened because of the rain, it will open on the 9th day. And next day the flowering comes. Suppose people go there and get disturb the whole setup, the pollination will not take place. Because the bees have to come and sit on the flower, then only the pollination will take place. Okay. That is also over. By evening, the pollination would have taken place. Then it starts growing. After 15 days or 1 month, we should get back rain, sufficient second rain. Otherwise, it will die away. Small children, no? So again, this is not in our hands. Like that, workers are there, tools are there, manure and fertilizer are there. Mother Nature should, so many contributory factors. And suppose I get a good crop, optimum crop, say 1 ton per acre. If I irrigate, I am blind towards all these factors. So there are so many contributory factors for getting that produce. If I don't become aware, I take the whole credit to myself. So when I realize that because of the contributory factors I have got this, I must not appropriate the profit only to myself. That is the first stage. So when we try to understand, act while not expecting the fruit, not expecting wholly for us, the fruit wholly for us, because we try to, this is the refinement. We become aware of the contributory factors that help us to get the fruit. And the third one, self-control. I should not immediately, impulsively react. So I must constantly think about all these things and restrict. There are some weaknesses, basic weakness in all of us. So I become aware of the weakness and try to impose some self-imposed disciplines by which I try to gradually tame and discipline it. So the refining process also includes the controlling. Because from experience I have learned that in total disregard to all these factors, when I react, ultimately I become miserable. I also make others miserable. And then equanimity of the mind. I don't think this we can learn from any text. It is through experience only, by watching others. Unless God gives me with that sense of mind. We have also seen people, But even then we become aware of it when we see people who remain unruffled and unaffected by any of these things. That we slowly try to learn. So the refining process, we can name it as becoming aware of the nature of equanimity in others and how you were able to appreciate that. Because you found the outcome becomes harmonious. Many instances will be there. Now the second chapter, these words help us to remember those things, connect ourselves with it. And whenever suppose the mind does not remember, we try to get it from others. Then and we keep on getting from others, we will try to remember, oh, this is what had happened in my case also. So when we closely watch, when we closely observe the equanimity in others, how it has helped us, slowly that equanimity, start percolating into our thoughts. Even when we forget and fail, at least we know that we have failed. So refining process means keenly observing the equanimity, in and around us. Our own trees and plants also teach us, Yes. Whether we recognize the plant or not, whether we do the way in which, human beings to human beings. But even when we do certain things and leave it, the plant will give its fruit. The plant will give the oxygen. The plant will take the carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. See, everything, they also teach us silently. So if we watch them, and it doesn't have any self-interest, it doesn't take any fruit for itself. You grow, you get the crop, but it will not take one fruit for itself. When we start recognizing it, that means the refining process gets hastened. Think about it, please. The coconut tree which we have, it will not take one coconut. Though it takes nearly a year for, right from the day of flowering up to the total fruition, ripening, it takes nearly a year. And we were told a healthy crop is 100 to 125 nuts a year a coconut tree gives. And it stays for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. But it doesn't take anything. So keenly watching these will definitely be a part of our refining process. Think about it. These are all some of the points that are welling up now. And then efficiency in action. How does it come? When there is a total involvement, no? Regardless of the result, we try to go back to our own lives. When we get promotion, when we get a pat from our boss, what did we do? At the time of involving ourselves, what was predominant in our mind? When we observe somebody doing perfectly, what does it touch and kindle in us? An admiration, an appreciation. What is that? Why? We are trying to understand. One by one we try to understand. Think about all these things. Refining process. So second chapter, we have only, out of 72 stanzas, we have picked out only 5 or 6 points. Because our idea is only to find out the point that will help us to refine our mind, to convert our mind into a refinery, so that what comes out of it, the crudity is subjected to go through a refining process. So Bhagavad Gita enables us to do all this intense going within. And then with that background, we try to see outside. It is not a theory. If it is theory, means it has no value. But we are trying to understand the reality, the theory, through an example. Ultimately, the message can be this: refinement can come only by closely observing the realities that are present in all objects and persons and situations. The reality, the truth behind every object, every individual and every situation, when we come to know of it, it has come out, it is only because of the refining. Instead of jumping out with our own conclusions, we just jump into it, one thought at a time. Papa used to say in service that 4 words: slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way. So by refinement, all these 4 are refined. Slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way. If every act, we will try to understand what Papa has said that. Ramdas does not want anyone to lead a contemplative. Oh, mistake. Ramdas does not want anyone to lead only a contemplative life. I'll manage. Ramdas does not want anyone to lead only a contemplative life. What?
Oh, sure.
Leave it, no, the chain.
Sorry.
Ramdas does not want anyone to lead only a contemplative life. One must also serve one's fellow beings in a selfless spirit. Love thy neighbor as thyself does not mean that love should only be felt in the heart. It must be also shown in action, in the form of relieving distress and rendering help in all possible ways. To serve man is to serve God. In Karma Yoga, work is done as worship. Then alone it gives joy. It should be done as perfectly as possible, with great care and love, and never in a slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way. The inner beauty must reveal itself in outer contact. For the sake of those who are hearing this for the first time, we are repeating. Others would have heard it many a time. Again, no, we are connecting with an experience so that it becomes very clear to us. When it was decided by devotees that we should bring out a souvenir on the occasion of Pujya Swamiji's 50th year of dedication, it was in 1999. When almost we had prepared everything, we went to Pujya Swamiji's room and requested him to give us a message. He said, Papa has already given a lot of messages, Mataji has given, there is no need for it. Then we insisted, people also want your message. And Swamiji is such a loving person, he will not say no when we insist. So we gave him the writing pad and the paper, unruled paper, and the pen. Swamiji, you have to write. Swamiji smiled, started writing. If we remember right, it must be more than 20-25 lines. As soon as he finished, he gave it to us. There was no overwriting. The distance between the two lines was even, as if he had written on a what paper? Ruled paper. No overwriting. Nil mistake. We were sitting very close to him. Standing close to him, watching. So all these things, work is done, then it only gives joy. With great care and love, it should be done as perfectly as possible, never in a slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way. The inner beauty must reveal itself in outer contact. The moment we hear this word, we are immediately grateful to him so that, he connects up this to this particular incident, which we have directly seen. It is not a theory. When we write, it may look as a theory, but we are trying to link it with, so this is the refining process. Keeping it in our memory, this is how the outcome became so impressive. Writing. And of course, Swamiji stands for self-effacement. So he told us, go through it, correct it, modify it, the way in which you want. Nobody can touch it. It is so perfect. And that is also because of his nature. He means that self-asserting nature is not at all there in him. Always he says, okay, we were prompted to do. If somebody else gets another prompting to improve it, let him do it. That is the honest feeling somebody has. So we are trying to understand the refining process, come to know through somebody. Then only the theory becomes, what do you call applied knowledge. Otherwise it becomes, academic. We can give a long lecture and then go. So if somebody asks what is the second chapter is supposed to be the important chapter, very important chapter.
So this is the SOP of life.
Way of life, definitely way of life.
SOP.
So, so big. Yeah. So kindly think about it. As we said yesterday, last week we had Vande Bharat speed. This time we are not at all interested in that. We have gone and we have understood something. So now we are trying, this process is to convert our mind into a refinery so that from today onward we will try to see how it works in us. The Gita touch. Yesterday we said, to have a Gita touch in everything that we think, that we talk, that we do. And Gita touch is this refinement. We do not rush up with our own judgments, our own likes, our own dislikes, our priorities, our preferences, our rights, our wrongs. The mind will keep on giving us so many justifications. So we want to get over that, and so that we become happy, full, and others also become happy because of our thoughts, words, and deeds. As children of beloved Papa, when he says we have been drawn to Anandashram, and Anandashram's ideal is universal love and service based upon the vision of this divinity in all of us. So if it is for this purpose we have been drawn here. The expansion from the me to we to him. So this should become predominant in our mind. It is for that purpose only we are doing Nam Dhyan Seva. And in order that we get the correct perspective while doing Nam Dhyan Seva, he also provides opportunities like this to go to scriptures, the celestial song. Gita is titled as a celestial song. And Papa introduces this as it's a manual for life. So when Papa has done so much for us, we are trying to understand how we can make it a reality in our life. So now he gives us the feeling that our thoughts, words and deeds should undergo a process of refinement because before it is released out. So he now gives us an opportunity to go through the essence of each chapter and look at it from this perspective so that we get a workable, not a theory, a workable knowledge. By bringing back into our mind what all he has paraded before us through our experience. And whenever we don't get any such example, we also try to get in touch with those who have, and through them we try to understand those examples. Through the examples we try to understand the technique of refining the mind. Is that becoming clear? So now, So now we request, give us some examples tomorrow. Thought-provoking. Don't stop with all these comments. We want hot examples. Example is the litmus test. No flowery words. As somebody puts it, no masala words.
The auntie said something just now. In Mauna, this Mauna day, when we were making bags and all, 3 of these points were actually visible. Equanimity was there, efficiency was there, and self-control was there.
Acha. On the Mauna day on Sunday last, 9th February, there was a Seva session, and what we took up was to make paper bags from ordinary newspaper. We did not have any experience, but on the previous day we went to the YouTube. Beautiful clues were given. Even on that day, 9:30, we were not very clear. Then somehow it became clear. Then we said, let us see at the field what happens. I did not observe the lady section, but in the gent section, we could observe that somebody had picked it up, and we found everybody is eager to do it, and those who are not in a position to move further, they fold and then they keep quiet. Folding, gluing, and so many things have to be done. So they will look at the person who does it perfectly. He brings it there. Then ask in showing signs, he cannot talk, Mauna. So like that he shows, and then the other man guides, and then he picks, the other people picks it up, and 40 people were able to make 150 bags. Shraddha says the ladies section also, they did wonderfully well.
They were not ready to go to eat food only.
Eh?
They were not ready to go to eat food also.
They were not ready because the timing was such. The timing was such. After that, we have to go for food, 12 o'clock. So they were not even bothered to go at 12 o'clock because immersed in it. So this everything you should do it perfectly, not in a slipshod, clumsy, irregular, half-hearted way. So it was a practical demonstration Papa gave us through that particular seva session. So this gives us more clarity. So like that, this example, please try to bring and send. If you are not in a position to immediately get it, don't worry. At least one or two may try today itself. And rest of the people should not leave it. They must keep on bringing this. And as soon as it wells up in your mind, put it in simple words. Don't worry about the language, don't worry about the explanation. We only want the theme, and the theme we will explain it in simple words. So please join us, it is not one-way traffic. Please join us. Then only this Gita study. Through Gita study, we will have something about the Gita touch. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om. Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Pranam. Yeah. Pranam. Namaskar. Hari Om. Namaskar. Hari Om.